It's over between us." Then she walked past me like I was already a stranger. I stood in our hallway in Houston, still holding the grocery bags, staring at the front door she had just slammed shut, and all I could hear was the Ring camera on the porch catching every second of it. For 3 weeks before that, something had felt wrong. Lena started guarding her phone like it was gold, turning it face down whenever I entered the room. She began coming home late with weak excuses about work meetings that never matched the calendar on the fridge. And every time I asked if everything was okay, she would give me that flat, careful smile that says more than words ever could. I told myself I was being paranoid, but then I noticed the little things: a perfume smell that wasn't hers on her jacket, a second coffee receipt in the car, and one night when I reached for her charger, her phone lit up with a message from a contact saved only as M. I did not open it. I didn't want to become that husband. But when she said those words in the hallway, something inside me snapped. If she wanted to end it, fine. But I needed the truth first. So I went to the app on my phone and pulled up the porch footage from the night everything changed. At first it was nothing. Just the usual grainy video of packages sitting by the door and headlights washing over the driveway. Then I found the clip from 11:42 p.m. and my stomach dropped. Lena came home quiet and fast, looking over her shoulder before stepping onto the porch. A black SUV idled at the curb. She didn't see me yet, but the camera did. She turned back toward the street, and a man stepped out of the shadows carrying something small in his hand. He walked straight to her, and they stood too close, talking too fast. Then Lena reached for the object, and the man grabbed her wrist. She pulled away, angry, then suddenly froze when he said something that made her face drain of color. I replayed it twice, then 3 times, trying to catch the words. That was when I noticed the man wasn't alone. Someone else was sitting in the passenger seat, watching our house like they knew exactly who lived there. My hand started shaking as the doorbell light blinked in the recording, and Lena in the video turned toward the front door with tears in her eyes. She whispered something I couldn't hear, looked straight into the camera, and then said my name like a warning. But the worst part was still coming, because right before the clip cut out, the man in the SUV held up a wedding ring that looked exactly like mine. The ring in that man's hand was not just similar to mine. It had the same tiny scratch across the gold band, the same dark blue stone, the same engraving on the inside that I had never shown anyone but Lena. I sat down on the kitchen floor because my legs stopped working. For a minute, all I could think about was how many times I had trusted her when she said she was just tired, how many dinners she had skipped, how many times she had turned away when I tried to kiss her good night. We had been married 8 years, long enough to know each other's silences, and lately hers had been getting louder. The next morning, I searched the house while she was in the shower and found a second lipstick in her travel bag, black, expensive, and not a color she ever wore. In the laundry room, I pulled a receipt from her coat pocket for a hotel near the airport, paid in cash, with no room number listed. Why would she hide that? Then I noticed something else that made my chest go cold. Her sister Marcy had started calling me every few days, asking casual questions that did not sound casual at all, like whether Lena had been acting stressed or whether I had seen her new friend. I had no idea what new friend she meant until I checked Lena's calendar and saw the same blocked-out 2-hour slot every Thursday labeled errands for the last month. That night, I played the porch footage again with the sound turned all the way up. This time I heard the man's voice clearly, low and sharp, saying, he already knows about the apartment. Apartment. What apartment? Lena had never mentioned renting anything. I waited until she came out of the bedroom and asked her straight. Her face changed so fast I knew I had hit something real. She said it was none of my business, then grabbed her phone and moved toward the stairs. I followed her and saw her screen light up before she locked it, a message from M saying, "Did he open the envelope?" Envelope. Now there was an envelope, too. She caught me looking and snapped, "Stop spying on me." But her hands were shaking. I asked her whose ring that was on the porch video, and she went completely still, like someone had cut the power in her body. She whispered, "You should not have watched that clip." And for the first time since she walked into my life, I felt afraid of my own wife. Then the doorbell rang, and when I opened it, a little boy no older than 6 was standing on my porch holding a paper bag with my name written on it. along with the same initials engraved inside the ring. The little boy on my porch was shaking so hard the paper bag crinkled in his hands. He looked past me, straight at Lena in the hallway, and said, "Mom told me to give this to the man who lives here." I felt Lena go rigid behind me before I even opened the bag, and inside was a folded envelope, my name written on it in her handwriting, the letters pressed hard like she had written them in a hurry. My heart was pounding by the time I pulled out the pages, because the first thing I saw was a photo of Lena sitting on a bench beside the man from the Ring camera, both of them staring at the boy like a family. Not smiling, not posing, just tired, close, and far too comfortable with each other. The note started with my name, then stopped and started again, as if she had rewritten it more than once. She said the boy was not mine to worry about, but she had been helping him for months because his life had fallen apart after his wife left, and he had nowhere else to go. That should have made me feel better, but it did not, because the next line said she had met him in secret after work, not to cheat, she wrote, but because she needed someone who understood her before marriage, before expectations, before me. I read that sentence 3 times, and each time it cut deeper. She had kept another life from me, a private place where I did not exist. Then I saw the part that made my hands tremble so badly I dropped the page. She admitted she had almost kissed him in the parking lot 2 nights earlier, and she stopped only because the little boy started crying in the back seat. Not because she chose me, because a child interrupted them. Behind me, Lena whispered, "That was never supposed to happen," but her voice sounded thin, like she was already somewhere else. The boy on the porch started crying too, asking if his mom was in trouble, and that was when I realized the worst part. The man in the video was not a stranger at all. He was Lena's ex-fiancé, the one she had told me died years ago. I turned to her so fast the envelope tore in my hand, and she flinched like she had been waiting for this moment. "You told me he was gone," I said, barely hearing my own voice, and she closed her eyes as if the answer would destroy me. Then her phone lit up again with one new message from M. "Tell him the truth before I do." The message on Lena's phone was gone before I could read the rest, but the name on the screen was enough to make the room feel wrong. I stepped back from her like she had become a stranger with my wife's face, and the little boy on the porch started crying harder when he saw her reach for the envelope in my hand. Lena did not explain the message. She only asked me to go inside and lock the door, and that made me trust her even less. If she was scared, why had she hidden this from me for months? I took the boy into the living room and gave him water while Lena stood by the window, staring at the street like she expected someone to appear. Then I noticed the paper bag had a second item inside, a storage locker key with a metal tag stamped with a number I did not recognize. On the back of the envelope in tiny print was an address downtown and a warning that made my skin go cold: "Do not go alone." I asked Lena who sent it, and she said she did not know, which would have been easier to believe if her voice had not cracked on the word no. The boy told me his mother had packed the bag after midnight and said they might not